University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is David Stouffer and I get to be the recruitment coordinator for the UMSL College of Education. Each week on this podcast, we will meet an innovator in the field of education. We will spend some time getting to know them and learning about their work and how it can help you and yours. It is my sincere hope that this podcast will be a source of encouragement and support as you work to continue impacting lives as an educator. My guests today are Dorian Hall and Blain McVey. Dorian is the director of the Millennial Student Center and Event Services here at UMSL. He's responsible for all operational matters in the Millennial Student Center, including, but not limited to, swipe access, digital signage, custodial and maintenance concerns, and UMSL radio. He addresses concerns with vending and dining services and serves as a liaison for the Division of Student Affairs. Dorian is a huge geek who enjoys superhero comic culture, anime, video games, Christian hip-hop, and classic soul music. Sometime when we have more time, Dorian, we really need to dive into those interests because that's a whole nother show by itself. Blain McVey is Event Services Manager here at UMSL. Blain is responsible for reserving event spaces both outdoors and at the Education Collabitat. He also works with reservations for off-campus guests as well as managing student event managers. Blain almost starred in a commercial for Juicy Fruit Gum as a kid, and we're definitely diving into that a little bit today, Blain.
I'd be happy to.
So we're getting into that.
David, today. Normally we're on South Campus.
I know, right? This is great. It's nice to be up here and see the North Campus every once in a while. So, well, guys, welcome. Dorian, let's jump right in with you a little bit. You've got quite a few responsibilities, many of which I noticed are addressing concerns. So that must be interesting. Share, if you would, a little bit about your background journey, how you wound up here at UMSL, and a little bit more about your current role.
Yes. So I have been at the institution in one capacity or another since 2005. I started as just a normal, regular student after graduating high school from CBC. Born and raised in the St. Louis area, so was looking for an institution that was local because I didn't want to go too far away from home, and UMSL was the right fit for me, and so that's how I found myself here. That following year in 2006, got my first job on campus working for the Welcome Center. Had a wonderful time and learned a lot during that experience, and then from there worked for the program board, worked for the student center, did orientations, was involved in 7 or 8 different student organizations as a student leader, and at one point, just did a lot of different things during my undergraduate time. Met my wife here. Had a wonderful experience here at UMSL as a student. Decided to come right back and get my master's here as well. So I have a bachelor's of science in business administration with an emphasis in management and a minor in accounting. It's a mouthful.
It is.
And then I have a master's in business administration. Got an opportunity while in grad school here to get a full-time temp position that turned into a permanent coordinator role that fed a promotion that led me into a supervisor position. From there, an assistant director, associate director role. Eventually landed me in a director role, and I've enjoyed being a director for the university in one capacity or another now since 2020.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's quite a journey, and really I appreciate you sharing that. Okay, Blain, let's hear about the Juicy Fruit Gum commercial first, please.
Yeah, it's just, it didn't pan out, unfortunately, but I kind of got started in child acting, just took some lessons. Unfortunately, I was too shy as a kid. Definitely I'm not now, but was back then. And just didn't get in that commercial. But that's okay. I'm very happy where I am here at UMSL
Yeah, you might
instead.
not be here at UMSL if you were successful. You might be
Right.
in Hollywood. Who knows what you might be doing. So tell us a little bit more besides that incredibly stressful and painful event. What talk a little more about your journey and what brought you to UMSL.
Yeah, my time here at UMSL is much shorter than Dorian's. I've been here just a little bit over 2 years. Before that, I was an undergraduate student at Webster University, just really engaged on the campus.
Go
So,
Gorlocks.
yes, go Gorlocks. They got nothing on the Triton now, of course, but go Gorlocks. So I was just really involved in campus. So whether it's Student Government Association, speech and debate team, I was the, I mean, pretty much every extracurricular activity I was involved in. And so when it came time to graduate, I wasn't ready to leave a college campus. And so I was talking to one of my mentors on campus, who actually happens to be my current supervisor's wife now. Shout out to Lester and Jen Stewart. And she, talked about how you can make a career out of college. And so now I work in higher education. I started in the office of Student Involvement, helping other students find their place on our campus and get involved. And then in May, I transitioned to event services, where I now oversee some event spaces here on campus.
Okay, great. Well, let's
So-
talk a little.
I just want to say he went from a phenomenal event planner to a phenomenal event manager. So we are very glad to have Blain on the team.
Thank you, Dorian. Thank you.
I've had a chance to work a lot with Blain over in the Collaboratak because that's, of course, right over by our offices in the College of Ed, and he's very Blain. I've never met somebody who's so graciously directive. When you have to tell people no, you always do it in such a way that they're appreciative that you told them no, which is amazing. Amazing.
I appreciate that.
That's
It's
a
tough
skill.
to do.
That is
It's
a
tough
learned
to do.
skill. That's very good. Talk a little bit about the services you provide. It's I hope that you get the recognition you guys deserve, but I have a feeling that your work is sort of well in the background, that many probably don't understand and know how important your services are to UMSL. So talk about the services you provide and maybe how important some of those services are for the UMSL community. Dorian, why don't you go first?
I'll start by saying I think the most important job that we have, and specifically we're talking about the Student Center, is making sure that we create a community that is engaging, supportive, understanding, safe, that when students come in this building, they feel like they have a place, that they matter, that they have a home in this little nook over here, or they feel encouraged to come and sit by the fireplace, which is on today in the Fireside Lounge. And
Good.
so I think that's often what I keep at the forefront of my mind in many of the things that we're doing is like, how are we making this space? How are we crafting things and doing things in such a way that is supporting, engaging, and encouraging the students first and foremost, but also this larger campus community that we're a part of. And so that happens in multiple ways, from things like making sure that I'm reporting about the escalator, or making sure to follow up with our custodial team because we've got this issue over here that needs to be taken care of, to working with my great colleagues in our department, making sure that the event spaces are safe and comfortable, and that we're trying to make strategic investments where we can in order to continue to provide some of the things that our campus needs in order to host quality events.
Just based on your responsibilities, it's a little snapshot into the variety and the extent of the services that your department provides. I mean, it's a little of everything. For the normal student around here, help me understand exactly what your department really touches. So a student walks into the building, goes and eats lunch at the Nosh, has a class, sits in the Fireside Lounge, goes to a meeting in the Century Room somewhere. You guys are involved in all of that, aren't you?
There isn't a thing in this building that happens that we're not connected to in some way. If you're going into an individual office, we are supporting them by being that liaison between our facilities management team and our custodial teams to make sure that their spaces are healthy and safe and cleaned, and helping to address any concerns they have. If you're going down into the Nosh, I just had a meeting yesterday with dining services. I have another meeting tomorrow with dining services about how we're making sure we're providing a quality service and how they are providing a quality product to students, and where do we need to make adjustments so that we can effectively meet the needs of our students, particularly with dining. Especially want to make sure we're meeting the needs of our residential students, who are very key portion of the larger community. But with all of the changes that have happened on campus, we're especially focused on making sure that they have the best experience with those changes we've had recently.
You clearly come across as someone that really has a servant mentality, which I guess is important in this job because you're providing such a valuable service. Where does that come from? Where does that desire to really serve and make sure people's experiences here are quality every day?
So that comes from, rest her soul, a wonderful woman by the name of Marguerite Rupert, who is my grandmother. I learned servant leadership very much from her. And it is, to this day, I consider her my greatest human inspiration. And so that is where that comes from, because I saw it modeled in everything that she did, from how she took care of our family, for how she took care of things in ministry, because she was a pastor, for how she took care of things in her immediate community, and how she would help the children with things and bring people together. And all of that put a large imprint in me, and I live every day with the mindset of how am I best serving those that I engage with.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Blain, is he good to work for, or is he working pretty hard?
Both. Yeah, Dorian is always on the run, working, helping somebody. There's kind of a joke in our office. You can hear his keys jingling before you see him. So if you hear keys jingling somewhere in the building, it means Dorian's on the way to help somebody out.
Well, Blain, let's hear from you. What do you consider to be, if you had to pick one or two things that's the most important role that you have with event services, what do you see it as?
I'd say definitely echoing what Dorian already mentioned. So building like a safe and inviting community for people. For me specifically, I work with outdoor spaces, like you mentioned, the Ed Collabitat. With the Ed Collabitat, it's a lot of residential programming. So the University Program Board is often doing like late night or weekend activities. And of course that happens over here at the Millennium Student Center, but the Ed Collabitat an opportunity to be closer and more accessible to residential students. Another thing that's cool and that a lot of people on campus don't really get to see in my role is that I work with the external clients to campus. So if, let's say Ameren or Boeing or some company wants to come to a conference on campus, they work with me to set up that conference. And since I'm new, I haven't really kind of branched into this yet, but really what I'd like to do is find ways to connect all of these events to our campus more.
Sure.
So UMSL is an anchor institution. It's already really embedded in the St. Louis community, and I know all these programs already have connections in the industry. But I'd like to really be a lot more intentional whenever I see like these conferences come and say, well, hey, who do I know in XYZ department, or what students would benefit from being involved? And I'd like to be able to kind of connect those things very closely. Because we always, even though bringing in these conferences and conventions is really important to us, we always want to preserve spaces first and foremost for students in our campus. But I think there's ways at times we can do it all successfully together.
Les Stewart couldn't be here with us today, and I've had some great conversation with Lester about his vision for improving, the Collabitat and the technology and some things. I'm interested in hearing from you guys about where you think the role of the event services department is going in the future. What do you see changing at UMSL in terms of your services, the facilities we have here, the services you provide? What do you think?
Well, that's a fun question to answer a bit, because I've been in conversations already in certain rooms about what are some of the newer initiatives specifically coming from others across campus that they would like to see our team do. And so with all of the construction, we know that we've seen such a reduction in spaces, but we also know that there's some new opportunities being created in some spaces. And so we are in conversation about bringing the way that we manage facilities, the way that we manage spaces, into some other key parts of campus, most notably the Richter Welcome and Alumni Center and some of the new spaces that are coming into SSB. And so looking at how we can take the model that we use in this building and in the Ed Club habitat to then spread it into some of these other new event spaces that are coming.
Yeah.
Is one of the things that's very much in if nobody else is in my forefront of things that I'm looking at and working on. But then I think another related thing is we recognize as a campus that we have become, and really have been always, but become a hub for different camps and academies. And so how do we then develop a structure to better support those initiatives on campus, to better communicate out about those initiatives? And so there's some conversation about what that will look like in having, ultimately, whatever is decided, having event services
Sure.
potentially spearhead that, so we can be more effective and efficient in really supporting and communicating out about those camps and academies across campus. And so those are the two biggest things: the additional spaces that are coming online, and then the work with campus and academies that are kind of at the forefront of my mind of how what we're doing may expand or grow in the coming years.
Wow, fantastic. So how much are you involved in the development of the Welcome Center and the expansion of the SSB? Are you involved in the planning process or any of the construction plans or anything like that?
So we have been, Lester and I are both on the committee for the Richter Welcome Alumni Center, so we have been able to have some engagement with that, quite a bit of engagement with that. Unfortunately, we were brought in later on the SSB project, but not so late to where we weren't able to make some strategic suggestions that I think will help make the space flow a little bit better than what was originally proposed.
So you're the reason that it keeps getting pushed back.
No.
We were supposed to be in there the end of this year and then the next year. Now it looks like 26, 27. So it's all your fault.
All I told them, David, was, hey, I think it makes a lot more sense to turn this side of the room a little differently than the way you have it. And I asked them, what about storage? That's all I said.
There you go. Okay.
Where's the storage?
That's all right. No, I appreciate that. Any big construction project like we have here always runs longer than they anticipate. So I'm just so excited about everything that's going on there. So that's fantastic. Blain, what about you? Where do you see your role growing, and what do you see about the department growing and the services?
I am excited to see a lot of our outdoor spaces come back online. So there's been a lot of disruption with that, with the construction. I know we'll end up a lot better, but we haven't really had access to the quad at all since I began this position. And so I'm kind of excited to be able to get back into those spaces when the construction wraps up. I really want to work with different departments, student groups across campus, especially with wellness initiatives. I think we have a really large campus and we have a lot of outdoor spaces, whether they're officially reservable or just outdoors. And so I want to work with our, student groups to use these spaces better. Like I said, especially with wellness initiatives. I've seen a lot of campuses, I've been at conferences, and they talk about how they use their outdoor spaces effectively. But a lot of it's just awareness. Like students don't know where they can what spaces are available outdoors. Also sounds like I may be picking up some of those new spaces that come online with the end of construction. So I'm really excited to work with those. And then also with over at the Ed Habitat with college education leaving in the near future, Lester and I have conversations about, how do we want to repurpose the Ed Habitat, or kind of how do we be intentional with the space? Because it's probably gonna be used a lot less without you guys over there. So, designing it better for residential students, or really equipping it to be a good conference space for external clients. It'll be an island kind of once college education is gone. So we really need to get a good idea of how to use it effectively.
Yeah, sure. Fantastic. Well, what's in store for your futures? I'm interested in learning a little bit more about you and the direction you guys would like to see your own careers go. Talk about that a little bit, Dorian. Tell us a little bit about your future.
So that's a really good question. I've been thinking about this a lot, and right now I've just been kind of enjoying the current journey I'm on. Because I am really kind of split between two career paths. So I'm, of course, work here at the university in higher ed and have been in higher ed for years now, but I've also been in ministry, and I've been some form of a pastor for about 11 years. And so, I'm just interested to see how those things, both of those fields
Mhm.
change and where that might ultimately lead me. But at the current moment, I'm enjoying my role as a director. I'm enjoying my role as being sort of an executive pastor, which is not the head pastor, not the lead pastor.
Mhm. Sure.
So I preach maybe 5 or 6 Sundays,
Mhm.
7, 8 Sundays a year instead of 40 to 50
Uh-huh.
Sundays a year. So that's a nice change of pace from what I was doing before. So really just taking time to reflect on what I think might be
Yeah.
best for me going forward, but also keeping in mind that I'm married to a wonderful woman who has boundless potential in higher ed, and I want to be first and foremost supportive of where her career may take us as well. And
Mhm.
I mean, she could have us anywhere across the country with the number of places her name's been dropped these years. And so I'm also excited to see what that means for our family as some of those opportunities may present themselves for us.
That's so great. So your grandmother's influence continues in many ways, huh?
Yes, it
That's
does.
fantastic. That is awesome. Blaine, how about you?
Kind of similar to Dorian. I'm kind of in this like exploration phase. I just like I said, I started this position in May, so I'm really just kind of getting settled in, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm not really looking to leave anytime soon. But I also don't necessarily know long term like what my future holds.
Mhm.
When I first started in higher ed, I was in a very student facing, like student engagement position. I was an event planner. And now I'm kind of on the flip side where I am, again, managing the events, and it's not super student facing. So on day to day, I'm actually like writing contracts for these external clients that come to campus, like coordinating police and security, coordinating parking, figuring out like needs for these external clients. And so it's getting a really different look on university, working in university and what university life is like.
Mhm.
And so I guess I'm going to figure out which side of university life I like and what holds for me after that. I really like being here at UMSL, though. The staff, the students, faculty, administration are all very down to earth. And it's a place I want to stay. I don't really want to start school again, but we're very lucky here as staff to get
Yes.
our education super subsidized. So I need to reach out to advisors, I guess, and explore some programs. So maybe you
All
might be
right.
helping me out
Yeah,
in the near
there you
future,
go.
David.
So there may be a Dr. McVey in the future.
Oh gosh, well I got to get a master's
Okay.
first, but
All
doctor
right.
could be down the road.
Well, hey, we've got some great opportunities in the College of Ed. I'd be happy to get you connected with somebody. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you,
fantastic. Well, you guys are incredible. Event services just doesn't seem to cut it. It's like UMSL services extraordinaire. I mean, you guys are in everything, and you make this place work and run and function in ways that so many people just don't understand but get to experience. So thank you guys for the work you do and for the incredible service you provide, and your passion and your desire to serve the community at UMSL is just evident in every word you said. So thank you guys for being here. I hope you don't go anywhere for a long time. All right. Thank you guys. My guests today on Triton Talk, Dorian Hall, Blain McVey, UMSL Event Services. Thank you guys for being here.
Yep. Thank you for having us.
today.
I am honored that you chose to join me today for the University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. I hope you'll join me next time. Till then, I'm David Stouffer. Thank you for the work you do. Never forget, you are making a difference every day.